Hello people, welcome to my channel and my first video. Today I'll be talking about the Back 4 Blood beta and giving my thoughts on it so far. I'm going to be starting off with what happens when you load in for the first time. Loading the game for the first time prompts one to change accessibility settings, subtitle settings, brightness settings, and screen space to fit their needs. Very standard for any game really. And then after that, you got the end user license agreement to agree to. Then the game gives you your username for crossplay. Once again, pretty standard stuff. I don't see this process changing once full game is released. And after that, you load in this place called Fort Hope. From here, you can customize card decks for campaign reverses, purchase items from supply runs, head into the practice range, test out weapons, and most importantly, join or create a campaign reverses match. You can walk from station to station or use the tabs up at the top. You can view, add, join, and invite friends from Fort Hope as well. Crossplay is supported. You can also customize your emblem, title, and banner. I think that it's cool having more than just the main menu screen. Here we actually have a place that feels lively. The training range is also a nice touch. Now let's get into the campaign. Campaign is crossplay, 4 players. Supports Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. You can disable crossplay in settings if you'd like. Solo campaign is unavailable, and you're only able to play online with friends, other players, or bots. If a player leaves, they will be replaced with bots. Players can take control over available bots if they die during the run, or when they join a run in progress. So far, we only have Act 1, and there's 8 checkpoints. There's also 3 difficulties. We got Survivor, which is the easiest setting. There are many handicaps for the survivors, like no friendly damage, and more health for survivors. In my opinion, I think it's way too easy, and it makes the game boring. Then we have Veteran, which is a bit more challenging. And then we have Nightmare, which is the hardest setting. 1 less strike, Ridden do more damage, and 60% friendly fire damage. You can also select starting points when starting a campaign or join a run in progress. You can unlock starting points by progressing in the run. Further you start in the level, you can spawn in with more copper. You can also start with and choose more cards, depending on where you choose to start. One drawback to this, however, is that you can start with multiple corruption cards. And runs can also be saved. This is cool because you can continue from where you left off, and you don't have to start the very first checkpoint or the very beginning. In the beta, you can choose from 5 out of 8 survivors. You can choose Vandalo, Holly, Hoffman, Mom, or Walker. Each survivor has their own secondaries, team effects, and passive abilities. For example, Hoffman has a chance to find ammo whenever he kills a Ridden, while Holly recovers 10 stamina whenever she kills a Ridden. Same with the base secondaries. Walker will spawn in with a pistol, Mom will start off with a double-barreled shotgun, and Evangelo will start off with a machete. While the variety is nice, it can also be bad because if you want a certain character with certain abilities and the character is already selected, you'll be forced to choose a different character. Once you've chosen your survivor, you could then choose your card deck. And once it's all locked in, the game will present corruption cards, then your starter card, and then you'll be able to draw 1 random card from your starter deck. Corruption cards are cards that favor the Ridden or have negative impacts on the environment, or scenarios that the survivors encounter throughout the run. And there's also challenges that are meant to be completed by the next checkpoint. I feel like the challenges should have its own separate category. Same with the scenarios. I'm not sure why they're presented as corruption cards. And once you're done selecting cards, there will be a list of all the cards that are active. And you can view this anytime during the run by bringing up your inventory and switching tabs. Safe rooms or checkpoints are rooms that the survivors first start in after choosing cards and loading in. And each of these rooms are unique and have shops where the survivors can spend copper in. These shops are called vendors, which can only be accessed once the whole team is ready. From here, you can refill on health and ammo, buy team upgrades, weapons, attachments, and accessories. And team upgrades, weapons, and attachments are randomized every time. Weapons and medicine cabinets can also appear in safe rooms. Each survivor starts off with a base health of 100. However, depending on which survivors and cards have been picked, it is possible to start a run with more base health. Whenever a player takes damage, they lose health, but also lose a small percent of their base health. Healing items cannot bring back base health. Lost base health can be recovered by using medicine cabinets. And this also means you can increase base health by using a medicine cabinet at full or near full health. Being below 20% health causes your character to move slower. Once you reach 0 health for the first time, you enter an incapacitated state, and you lose a strike. Strikes or incapacitations are the amount of times a survivor can down without dying. This depends on the difficulty of the run or cards you equip. While down, you can either shoot or melee, depends on your secondary. Medicine cabinets recover 1 strike per use. Once you reach 0 health with 0 strikes left, you die. And like I said earlier, if a player dies, they can spectate teammates or take over any available bots. However, dead teammates can be brought back in 2 ways. One way requires a defibrillator, single use only, on a dead body or by rescuing them. The defibrillator also allows the revive animation to be shortened on down players. This game also has a stamina bar, and the bar can go down by bashing or sprinting. Certain cards and team upgrades can increase the stamina bar, and the stamina bar recovers when the player isn't sprinting or not moving. While running around, you could find copper stashes, crates containing supplies, such as accessories, weapons, and weapon attachments. You can also find these items just lying around. They don't even have to be in crates. You could also find ammo stashes and random card stashes too. Some allow you to draw 1 random common card for free, while others require copper to buy the displayed card. You can also loot cards by smashing their windows and simply grabbing whatever's inside. You can also come across locked doors and crates, which require a toolkit to open. This game also has a ping system. You can pretty much ping anything that you can interact with, or you can tell teammates that you want to group up. Pinged items are also highlighted on your screen, and it shows you what the item is and how far away you are from it. This feature is cool because it's an additional way to communicate with your teammates. You can also see what you have in your inventory. Your inventory displays everything you're carrying, weapons, attachments, etc. You can also view the amount of copper and ammo you have. You can also drop these items, share them with teammates. And this also shows the difficulty of the run and what point you're at in the run. And you can also view active cards by switching tabs, as I mentioned earlier. This game also has a rarity system. The default rarity is common. It applies to any accessories, ammo, basic cards, base weapons. Then there's uncommon. Any items highlighted in green, rare items highlighted in blue, epic is purple, and legendary would be orange. Mainly weapons and weapon attachments come in different rarities. Stats of the weapons change depending on what attachments are on it. In this game, the environment can work in your favor, against you, or both. Barrels and cars can be shot and can explode. Same with propane tanks and gas canisters, but they can be picked up and moved around. Some cars have alarms, which also alert the horde when shot. Depending on which corruption card you have, things in the environment start to appear. For example, birds or mist. And also certain things that you have to do to advance in the level also appear. Some of these are presented as corruption cards, and doing these actions usually summon hordes. For example, you have to lower this bridge to get to the other side of this building. And in this other mission, you have to use a tow truck to move an object in your way. And these hordes are comprised of common infected or ridden. And you can find them almost anywhere on the map. They also have the most basic movement, run towards the nearest player, do little damage, while the mutants are the special infected, which make certain sound cues indicating to the player what they're up against. There's the Bruiser, Exploder, Stinger, Sleeper, Hawker, Wretch, Snitch, and other variations of these. All mutants have different abilities. All mutants also have weak spots on their bodies. Then there's the Ogre, the mini-boss, which appears at set locations throughout the run. This game also has a fail system. There are 3 continues if all the survivors die. I'm not sure if this varies depending on difficulty. Each time a team fails, they respawn at the last checkpoint with 1 less continue. The shop resets, locations of supplies and weapons found throughout the map also reset. More copper, health, ammo, and trauma recovery is given to the player after each fail. An extra card can also be chosen after every fail. The only thing that doesn't reset is the health of the Ogre mini-boss. And once all the survivors die with 0 continues left, the run failed screen pops up, and you just head straight back into Fort Hope. Once all the remaining survivors enter a safe room, the mission completes and the players are brought to a screen where they can see each other's performances starting from the previous checkpoint. The screen is a bit buggy, nothing too major, just a mix up of survivors and which did this and that. After that screen, the game then displays your total written and mutants killed in the run so far. Below the stats, rewards are displayed, and players get more copper to spend in the shop, in the current safe room, and supply points, which can be spent on supply lines at Fort Hope. Then after this screen, you load into the current safe room, and then continue on with the run. Now that pretty much sums up campaign. Let's move on to versus. Versus is a 4v4 online survivors / cleaners versus ridden, and there's no bots in this mode. Whichever team survives the longest as survivors wins 1 round. Best out of 3 rounds max, and the map changes every round. Roles are switched in between every round as well. That way both teams play both roles. Unfortunately, if teams aren't even, or if a player happens to leave, no bot or player will fill in the available spot or replace them, which results in unfair matches or entire teams leaving. We got 2 roles. We have the survivor role and the ridden role. Before loading in, the survivors choose who they want to play as and then pick card / versus decks. Same process as a campaign. After their preparation phase is done, survivors are given 1 minute to scavenge items in the area. Survivors can obtain all sorts of gear from looting, but they can't buy items. As soon as the 1 minute is up, the first wave starts and ridden starts spawning in. There are 2 parts in a wave. The first part is always a minute long, and the circle does not close in during this time. The second part of a wave is where the swarm grows or circle closes in, forcing survivors to move closer to the middle. Survivors have to make use of the little space they have while everything closes in on them, but the main goal of the survivors is to hold out for as long as possible. And then we have the ridden role. These players can choose to be variants of the special infected or a portion of the horde, specifically the Stinger, Reeker, Tall Boy, or Common classes. Ridden can be upgraded with mutation points. You can upgrade defense, offense, and utility. Higher tier upgrades are more expensive. Upgrades are shared with teammates. You can get mutation points passively or by damaging or incapacitating survivors. Ridden can die and respawn infinitely, regenerate health, climb walls, and spawn wherever, as long as they aren't too close or in view of survivors. And their goal is to stop the survivors from surviving as long as possible. What happens when you win? What do you get when you win? I have no idea. I never got to finish an entire match of versus. I had levers every match, resulting in my team or an entire enemy team quitting because it was simply not fair. That pretty much sums up versus. In conclusion, the Back 4 Blood beta was definitely worth playing. I had fun learning how to play it and adapting to the cards, rarities, and all this new stuff I'd never seen before in a zombie game like this. It was even better with friends. Although I still think it's weird seeing these things in a zombie game. In my opinion, if Call of Duty were to make a zombie game similar to Left 4 Dead, it would be this. What I mean by this is the sprinting, the rarities, the guns, the attachments, the emblems, the titles, and the banners too. I'm not saying that these are bad things, I'm just saying that these things just remind me of Call of Duty. Especially this pre-order bundle here, which offers a camo if you pre-order the game, which I probably will do. I just hope that it doesn't become super similar to modern Call of Duties with, microtransactions, stuff like that. But so far, Back 4 Blood is definitely a lot more complex than Left 4 Dead ever was. And I feel like some people would have a hard time adjusting to it, but I would still encourage them to give it a shot, because it's pretty fun. It's the closest we'd ever get to a Left 4 Dead 3, even if it feels nothing like it. I don't really have much to complain about. But a couple things that didn't sit right with me was trauma damage, the way versus is set up, and the Ogre mini boss. For trauma damage, I think it's just unnecessary to have the health bar split like that. I guess it's more realistic. I just think it's annoying losing health permanently and then not being able to recover it with medkits or bandages. And for the ogre boss, I think it's just too much. Feels so out of place. Definitely not as versatile as the other mutants due to its size and set spawns. The ogre can be avoided pretty easily by going into small spaces. Survivors can easily cheese the ogre by shooting from the small spaces as long as they don't get grabbed by the ogre. And if you aren't in these small spaces, it's pretty much impossible to just outrun the ogre. Just straight up catch up to you due to its size, or punch you from across the map. Can also just throw debris at you, toss you around like a rag doll. So you're pretty much forced to stay inside. There's no challenge in that. In my opinion, the ogre definitely needs to be reworked. And in my opinion, Versus is just pretty boring. I didn't really like playing as either side, and it needs matchmaking improvements as well. It also doesn't help when you're going up against a team with one less person or trying to compete against a team with more people. It's just boring and unfair. And one thing developers can do to fix this is to have a bot system that replaces players, just like in their campaign mode. The idea of having a small space to survive in instead of having an entire campaign to compete with is innovative. But honestly, I'd prefer whichever team gets farther in a campaign map, just like in Left 4 Dead. I mean, they just add this version as a classic versus while still keeping the other mode. And other than that, I'm definitely looking forward to the full game and making more content on it. Thanks for watching.